So today we're launching into a deep dive on a concept that's, well, it's often called the eighth wonder of the world.
Compound interest.
Exactly. And most people, they've heard the term, but it's still really hard to grasp the actual power behind it.
It is.
So our mission today is pretty simple. We want to understand that engine of growth, but also, and this is crucial, the forces that are always working against it.
Things like inflation and fees.
Right. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is compound interest?
The core idea is almost deceptively simple. You earn interest on your money, and then you start earning interest on that interest.
It's the snowball effect.
That's the perfect way to put it. And it's really important to remember this is a double-edged sword. It can work for you in savings, but it can work against you with debt.
Especially high interest debt, like on a credit card.
Absolutely.
I think one of the reasons it's so hard to internalize is that it feels slow at first. Our brains seem wired for linear thinking.
They are. We think, if you take 30 steps and each step is 1 meter, you go 30 meters. Simple.
That's easy to picture.
Right. But compounding isn't linear. So let's use that same analogy. Imagine you take 30 steps, but each step is double the length of the one before it.
Okay.
After 30 of those doublings, you haven't just gone a few hundred meters. You've covered a distance that's roughly equivalent to 26 trips around the entire planet.
26.
Yeah.
Wow. That's genuinely shocking.
And that's the disconnect. It's why even very smart people can just completely underestimate its power over the long term.
So the key isn't that it's just adding, it's multiplying.
Precisely. Simple interest adds. Compound interest multiplies the entire balance again and again. And because of that, time becomes your single most powerful ally. The curve looks almost flat for years.
And then it just skyrockets.
Exactly.
Okay, so if we understand that growth mechanic, we have to talk about the things that slow it down. Let's start with inflation.
Yeah, this is a critical piece of the puzzle.
So my bank quotes me a rate. Let's say it's 4%. What am I actually earning?
Well, that 4% is what we call the nominal interest rate. It's the number they advertise.
The sticker price.
The sticker price. But what really matters to your wealth is the real interest rate. And that's your return after you factor in the loss of purchasing power from inflation.
So if I earn 4%, but everything costs 4% more that year,
your real rate of return is zero. You haven't gained any actual purchasing power. The mechanism of decay, in this case inflation, has completely canceled out the mechanism of growth.
that distinction is so important. Now, what about frequency? Does it matter if my interest is compounded daily versus, say, annually?
It does matter. For savings, daily compounding gives you a slightly higher return. But where it's really powerful is on the negative side.
Debt again.
Credit card debt. It often compounds daily. So think back to that analogy of the doubling steps. With debt, the size of that step is getting bigger every single day.
That's why it can get out of control so fast.
Relentlessly fast.
Which brings us to the other big drag on growth fees. We're talking about those small percentages charged on investments.
The silent killer of wealth. There's a good rule of thumb for this.
Okay.
If you pay what seems like a tiny fee, maybe 1% a year, over 30 years, you might think you've lost 30%.
Right, 1% times 30 years. Linear thinking again.
Exactly. The actual loss is slightly less, but it's shockingly close to that. You can lose a quarter or more of your potential final value, all to that small fee.
Because the fee is eroding the base that's supposed to be compounding.
Precisely. It's compounding working against you all over again. A linear sounding cost creates an exponential long-term loss.
So when you put all this together, what's the real takeaway for someone listening to this?
I think it's that building wealth it's less about finding a secret or trying to time the market.
Right.
It's really about consistency and patience.
Yeah.
You have to let the math work. The early years will look boring, they just will. But something powerful is happening under the surface.
So what's the final thought then? The one question we should be asking ourselves.
I think the most important question is not how fast is my money growing right now. Is the mechanism of my growth, my real rate of return, consistently and definitively outpacing the mechanisms of decay?
Inflation and fees.
Inflation and fees, that's the real race. And it's the one that determines your financial future.